Welcome back to Drinks with Destiny. Today we are going to meet with Jennica Brownell-Kleeman, a licensed massage therapist for the last 22 years, the owner of award-winning spa called Spa Days, and she has recently expanded her services into grief recovery. As we all know, grieving is not just about death. It is about grieving the loss of lots of different things, which is something that we're going to discuss today. And appropriately, Jennica is going to be making us a drink today called Death in the Afternoon. It is a teaspoon of sugar, absinthe, and champagne, and it's amazing.
We're making Death in the Afternoon, and it was created by Ernest Hemingway in 1935. It has absinthe and champagne in it. So basically, I have a teaspoon of sugar that's in the glass already, and I'm going to be adding a shot of absinthe. It's no longer illegal, but I would have liked to have tried the original for sure. Inserting the green fairies. And then you top it off with a little bubbly. Woo!
That was great. I love how that bubbled over, actually.
And I'm all, woo! So the reason I'm passionate about grief is because I was deathly afraid of it. It was probably one of the worst feelings I've ever experienced in my life. It was physically painful. And so because I was afraid of it, I wanted to kind of the exposure therapy part of it, where you immerse yourself in it to understand and get more comfortable with it. And so back in 2004, I started the process of creating a grief massage, and I had a lot of retired clients at the time. So they were losing their spouses, they were losing their parents, some adult children. So I was learning more about the diversity of grief and loss and how it affected the body and the different ranges of emotion that people carried with them. So the process of a grief massage is a lot different than a typical traditional massage. We're not doing deep tissue work. I also incorporated aromatherapy that was antidepressants and anti-anxiety based, and so I just kind of gradually got more familiar with grief through my massage work, and just framing a treatment with the word grief enticed people because it wasn't necessarily something that was offered anywhere else. So my significant loss was my grandfather. I could not talk about him without crying. Just the thought of him was so emotional for me. I have a lot of my career that I owe to him. He was a strong role model for me, and so when he died, it was like I had lost a huge part of my heart. And it was a physical pain in addition to the emotional pain. So when I went to the grief recovery method workshop, I was kind of thrown into immersion and just learning what grief is, what are the myths associated with grief. In the workshop enabled me to identify that my love didn't equal pain. And that was huge for me. It was like, okay, thank you. You just gave me permission to love my grandpa and allow those feelings to come and go without being stuck in it. And so from that, in combining it with the therapeutic work, I just started to wanting to embrace death education and death positivity and learning more about the death industry, and it's all coming together. And becoming a certified grief recovery specialist is my first step in death education and recovering from death and loss. So the difference between the grief recovery work and the grief massage is the grief recovery work is all dialogue. It's verbal. I do one-on-one consultations, and I will be doing group. And then the grief massage is treatment room. So that is offered. All my therapists are trained in the grief recovery massage. So I want to make sure that they're not saying or doing something that would offset what clients would be learning in the grief recovery method. There's over 40 different losses a person can experience in their lifetime. So when you do the life history graph, it could be the loss of your first pet, loss of a grandparent, or your best friend moving away, or you move and you're having to start in a new school and all new friends and missing your friends at your old school. Say your dad loses his job and there's financial strain on your family, and so you're grieving a lifestyle you may have become accustomed to. Empty nest syndrome, infertility, so either miscarriage or the inability to conceive. So my goals in this new professional direction is to get certified in offering web-based counseling, getting certified to do the helping children grieve, and also pet loss. One of my other goals for this professional direction is to educate other massage therapists, and I've created a continuing education class for CEs that's recognized nationwide. So I'll be able to share this information anywhere in the country, and it's grief massage for massage therapists, and I'll go over what is grief, the physiology of grief, how it affects the body, the chemistry of significant stress, broken heart syndrome, coping mechanisms that people will resort to when they're trying to avoid those feelings, drug, alcohol, gambling, shopping, promiscuity. Mine is sleep. I like to sleep through stress, and for some people it might be religion. They just really dive into their faith and throw it up to their higher power and just think that it should be resolved, and they're just not going anywhere with it. So there's all kinds of different avenues that people will take to avoid processing it, and so I go over that in the class, as well as what to do, what not to do, what to say, what not to say. I'm in the process of breaking down my grief massage for massage therapist work into more civilian language, so that I can offer these presentations to the community as part of my death education